Hi everybody, I just thought I would jump on here and just share a video with you guys. I bought this canvas pad at one of my local supply stores, and I've used something else before from them, but I wasn't too impressed with it. Let me just grab it here for you. It is also an acrylic pad, and it's acid-free canvas textured paper. It's great to paint on, but it's sort of got a bit of a plastic film on it, which I suppose is almost like a gesso or a primer, but it tears away from the paper if you are too aggressive with it. And on the back of it, it's a lot like Yoko paper, so I sort of try to play with my acrylic inks, but I need other stuff to make it work better. And I saw that this one was 260 GSM, and this new one is a little bit heavier. And I like that they say this is a canvas pad and it's 100% cotton, where the other one is just textured paper. So I'm hoping that this will be a little bit of improvement. So I'm just looking for a device that I can use to just tear this plastic so that you can discover this canvas pad with me. I just finished a painting, and sometimes I feel exhausted after I completed the project. I think I've put so much energy into it to make a beautiful art piece that is worth selling, that it is very good for me as a creative coach to just come back to a canvas or canvas board like this, just for me, just to play and just to experiment and have fun and not worry about the end result or the details. So I must say that this paper, yes, it literally is canvas sheets that is cut to size, and it's blocked on the side, ready to paint. That is so exciting. I'm so glad I discovered this. Yay! So I can't wait to get into this. So I think I'm going to preserve the block, and I'm just going to tear a sheet off. It literally is woven cotton. You can see here on the side where I tore it off. So you can say this is unstretched canvas. That's exactly what it is. So that is phenomenal. Okay, so I'm going to put the board away. And I have decided to just come onto this completely unprepared and just totally open to the process. So let me get some of my art supplies and let's play. Right, so I've just moved my paper to ensure that you guys can all see. So I've got here to play with just my Dala Acrylic drawing ink. This is a very affordable brand of acrylic ink in South Africa. I don't know where else you will find this in the world, but I love Dala and Ronnie's acrylic inks, albeit a little bit more in the professional price range. And for days where I just want to play and experiment a little bit, I find that these Dala acrylic drawing inks is a little bit more affordable, and you can come a long way in playing with that. So I've got some brushes here, my bucket of brushes, and I just have a little bit of clean water and my trusty little towel. So the idea for today is really just to play. I want to loosen up and not think about producing anything, but just maybe intuitively work with my colors of choice, so that we can call this a little bit of an art therapy session. And a lot of people always ask me, how do you get started and how do you get into producing beautiful art, and how do you remain inspired? Well, you know, these play sessions are usually exactly where my inspiration and my healing and my everything happens. So I'm gonna just use a large brush and just use plenty of water and just bring it into these puddles of ink and just allow the magic to happen. It is always a good idea, if you are experiencing some intense emotions and you just want to process a little bit, to come to the canvas and just explore it there, and give yourself a little bit of an art therapy session. And really there's no rules. For me it's all about expressing how I'm feeling in the moment, and just working with my favorite color is most of the time enough to just pull me out of my funk and into a balanced emotional state. But what can be interesting afterwards, after your painting session has ended, is to just look up what any particular color meant. There is so much psychology to the color choices that we make in the moment, and that can be profound insight into your emotional state, and it might give you some valuable insights. So do try that. I don't think yellow is usually my go-to color, but I've come to love it. I've come to appreciate it as a color that adds a lot of vibrancy and value to my paintings. And I'm going to definitely look up and see what yellow could mean and communicate to me, especially in relation to how I'm feeling today. I must say, I'm loving this paper. It is really, really awesome. So I'm gonna jump here to a new color. This is Dala Acrylic's beautiful orange. Let me just see, flame orange. Definitely a flame orange. I do apologize for the garden services working out there with the grass cutting session. If it's annoying, just turn the volume down and just enjoy me play. I discovered the acrylic inks completely by chance, and I like watching other people's YouTube videos to inspire me, and this is where I learn and grow and get new ideas and try something new. It's from our beautiful community that we have on YouTube and on TikTok and Facebook. It's absolutely wonderful. And when I started playing with the inks, it really just opened up a whole new world for me. So I'm so grateful. And now it is definitely one of my favorite go-tos to create beautiful art, especially doing some underpainting and just having some fun. I'm going to switch to a bit of magenta here. Let's continue to build this playful story. I'm going to splatter it a little bit. So the acrylic ink almost gives me the same joy as watercolor, because there is a high flowability to it that you can activate by adding a bit of water or some alcohol, and then just move the paint around and just have some fun. You can see the texture of the paper here with the color as it's bleeding into it. You can actually see that canvas kind of creates. So now I didn't prepare it more than they gave it to me in the block. It says that it already is got a layer of gesso, but you can prepare it in your own way and just add another layer of gesso if you want to see less of this what shall we call it, grain. I've recently shared some of my studio moments on my Facebook group that is called The Creative Heart, and my group members really benefited from just me sharing from the studio how I create interesting underpaintings for my Buddha paintings, and amongst other things. So if you are interested to see what I offer in my groups, do check it out. It is called The Creative Heart on Facebook. It's a private group, so you can find it, and then you'll apply to become a member, and then I will accept you, and then you will find we are a beautiful community of fellow artists that support each other in our creative practice every day. And you will find that there is numerous free resources available for you to help develop your art and your skills, and to encourage you to activate a creative practice in your life that can be so beneficial and helpful, especially during trying difficult times like we are experiencing. It really helps you to just remember your resilience and to activate that resilience in your life, and go to the canvas for introspection, for meditation, for healing, for insight, and for working through emotions and feelings and situations, because it is a mindful practice that doesn't require a lot of effort. It just requires of you to be present and to be willing to be open and to play, and just allow whatever needs to be processed to process. And it's always interesting when you do an art therapy session to see how that makes you feel. I always say to people, check in on your feelings before you start, so that you have a baseline to begin from. So you might feel stressed, you might feel worried, but I'm going to pause the video now and allow the garden services to just finish what they need to do, and then when we come back we'll add another layer to this. So I've decided to use a fresh sheet of paper or this wonderful new unstretched canvas that I discovered, and I'm just continuing with my art therapy session today. While I was filming, the garden services came around, so the timing wasn't too great for this video. So I've pre-mixed some color here in my trusted porcelain bowls. I usually use it with my watercolor, and I decided to dilute some of my inks and play on my paper, and so I've mixed some acrylic ink with some of the old watercolor in my bowls and added some water, so then I'm ready to play. I'm going to use a big round brush with plenty of water on my canvas, and this will just allow areas to be already wet when I bring the color to the canvas, and this will give me areas of high flow, also some hard edges and some soft edges. My intention here is just to play. I'm not trying to produce anything in particular, but I would like to have a bit of a watercolor feeling to my painting. I'm going to start here with yellow. It's just a nice way to bring in some light and brightness into the canvas before adding other colors. So as I continue in this particular part of the session, just enjoy observing how the color is interacting on the canvas, and just experience this part of the session with me, where I just paint intuitively and just allow the color to develop on the canvas. Now that I've added a lot of color to the canvas, I also like to use just a rag to lift off some color, creating some blotting texture in the canvas, and that continues to add some interest to what is unfolding on my canvas. So this is that first sheet that I started with, and it's completely dry now, and you can see how vibrant the acrylic inks remain after it's dried. And And here is the second sheet that I did using a combination of a bit of ink and watercolor, and you can see how much lighter that is. So before we can proceed, especially if I want to continue to play, I think it's a good idea to just seal this first layer with acrylic medium, and that just protects whatever is happening on this layer. And then when we start adding to that, I think it will also help the paper, the cotton, not to remain so floppy, and also not to disturb any of the under layers. So I think, however, with this one I did want to just play with some mark making. And before I seal it, this is a new pencil that I got from the haberdashery, and it is actually one of those crayons that they use in dressmaking, but it is oil based, so do be careful because you will need to seal that. And also I wanted to try one of my charcoal pieces. Let me just see if I can find it here, and maybe also some pencils, and just do some interesting marks and see where that takes you. I'm deliberately holding it on the back and twisting it and turning it, just pushing it almost over the paper wherever it wants to go. I think that can be interesting. So I think I'm going to seal that with some acrylic medium. Now the charcoal might smear a bit, so that's okay. I'm gonna just continue working like this. Just wanted to see if we see this. I think it's too light. You see, this is why we experiment, so we can discover our tools and find out how it works and if it's working the way we thought it was going to work. So I'm just going to use my flat brush here, and I'm going to put some acrylic gel medium on here, and understanding that the charcoal will smear and become smoky, I'm completely open to that. I think it will add to the charm in the end. And remember, my mission today is just to play. It's not to produce anything significant, but you know, sometimes these play sessions turn out to be a little happy accident miracle, and it's something you can add to a collection or to your art journal. Right, so I'm going to let this dry somewhere else while I do the same on this sheet. Let's see if the white pencil shows up a little bit on here. It is like a crayon, so I guess you'll see a bit more on the darker areas. That's interesting. Let's play with our charcoal as well. I like it when I do line work is to come onto the page somewhere and then exit somewhere else. I think it just opens up the page if not everything is surrounded with a white border. That's nice in the end when you frame something, but it looks interesting. I'm going to seal this one as well. As you can see, it's very quick. It's not a big mission. So I'm trying to skip over the page very gently with my brush so as to not to disturb the charcoal marks too much. But I must say it's not a soft charcoal, it's more a medium charcoal, so it does give me a little bit of resilience there. Okay, I'm going to dry this and then we come back and we can see what else we can do with this.